Tonight on Alaska's news source, a man is found safe after he was reported as kidnapped. Details on the charges the suspects are facing.
And a dry Monday is expected for some, while the Panhandle adds another rainy day to the tally.
Plus, spring has sprung, and those potholes have too. We hear from DOT about the efforts to fill them in.
You're watching Alaska's news source.
2 people are facing charges after the Palmer Police Department says it received a report of a man being kidnapped yesterday. Police say that man has now been found safe. According to court documents, someone called 911 around 1:30 p.m. to report his brother-in-law and a 45-year-old man. To report his brother-in-law, a 45-year-old man, was kidnapped in Anchorage and brought to Palmer to be exchanged for a vehicle which had been repossessed from the suspect. The suspects, Marcus Sparger and Alexandra Perdomo, have been charged with kidnapping for ransom, third-degree assault, robbery, and vehicle theft. We have more details as well as a breakdown of what court documents say happened on our website. About 1 to 2 inches of snow fell across Anchorage and other parts of South Central today. But don't worry, Old Man Winter is only stopping by briefly. Meteorologist Bailey Brown joins us for what to expect this week. Bailey.
Yes, thank you, Michaela. Yeah, all across South Central, even reaching into the interior, we did see a little bit of that winter. But don't worry, we are looking ahead to some spring-like conditions for Monday as we look ahead with our weather headlines and the next big thing on what to expect. Again, we are expecting dry and sunny conditions all across South Central, but that wet weather still going to continue all throughout Southeast and only just a little bit in the interior. But that next storm that we are looking ahead to will make landfall by Tuesday into areas like western Alaska. So it's still a little bit far out there, but as we look across the state right now, overcast skies into Anchorage and Fairbanks. Ketchikan finally seeing those overcast skies after a day of plentiful sunshine. That's whenever more of that rain is going to move in through the overnight hours, but temperatures reaching up to the 50s in Ketchikan. Meanwhile, as we look ahead with our day planner for Anchorage on Monday, you can expect cloudy skies for the morning, very early in the morning, but then throughout the day, we will clear up just a little bit more for some partly cloudy skies with plenty of that sunshine. High temperatures reaching into the low 40s, and that's going to continue all throughout this week with that warming trend. Now for tomorrow in other parts of the state like Fairbanks, high temperatures reaching up to 39 degrees with some very light scattered mixture expected for the morning hours. Juneau and for Southeast, more of that wet weather will persist all throughout the day tomorrow and dry conditions remain for areas like Bethel. So for Southeast, expect more of that moderate to heavy rainfall, especially for the central portion of the Panhandle before it finally reaches down into the southern portions like Petersburg and Ketchikan, for about half an inch of rain expected into Ketchikan. Now for those overnight lows tonight, brace for those lows to reach that freezing point into Anchorage and even through Wasilla, reaching 30 degrees into Fairbanks. But tomorrow, high temperatures reaching up to the 40s all across South Central. Slightly cooler temperatures are ahead for the interior throughout this week.
Patching potholes around town is an ongoing battle between cleanup crews and the elements. Charlie Fellows has an update on what crews are doing to improve state road conditions in Anchorage and what you can do to help them out.
Well, despite the Sunday morning snow, spring has sprung here in Anchorage, bringing with it a whole host of puddles and potholes that crews are working to fix.
You know, this spring season is really when we do see a lot of the most stress on our roads because of the thawing and all of the water and then kind of the fluctuation of the weather. And so we recognize there's a lot to do out there, and to date, we've already filled hundreds of potholes. So we are out there.
Danielle Tesson with the Alaska DOT says the priority areas include Huffman, Muldoon, various Glen Highway on-ramps, as well as the Old Seward Spur, which is set to see a 50% weight restriction go into effect Monday.
So we're seeing some of these typical areas, which are our high traffic connectors that every year kind of have a little bit extra care that's needed.
Patching potholes is a bit like whack-a-mole. You fill one and another pops up. But road maintenance crews aren't just blindly swinging hammers, they need your help. Anyone in the municipality of Anchorage can call the pothole hotline to report one on Muni-maintained roads. For DOT roads, which are most of the main arteries through town, a brand new interactive tool debuted this year, which allows for more detail in reports.
And so you can actually drop that pin directly rather than trying to maybe describe an area. You can go right onto a map, drop a pin where that pothole is, and provide a little update. And this goes directly to our communication crews, as well as our maintenance and operation crews, and we work together to get that issue fixed and also communicate back to you that we've done so.
So if you see a pothole spring up, you know who to call. Charlie Fellows, Alaska's news source.
In case you missed it, this week a warning from Fish and Game to give moose some space. As Lauren Maxwell tells us, they've received a handful of reports of people being charged in Anchorage.
Some days it seems like moose are everywhere, turning up in neighborhoods and even in our parking lot. But while this mama and her young one may look pretty chill, Fish and Game says more likely they're exhausted.
This is the time of year where moose are really malnourished, looking for food. They're trying to conserve as many calories as possible, which means some negative interactions with people on trails.
No one has been hurt, but Fish and Game says they've had a number of reports of charging moose on trails and bike paths in Anchorage. At Connors Bog Dog Park,
still get a walk.
moose are a constant presence to watch out for.
They're usually laying down, but we're very aware to keep the dogs away from them because we know they are kind of stressed at this time of the year.
On this day, the walk proceeds with no moose in sight until
we finally did spot a moose, and we're keeping a safe distance. You can hardly see it through the trees.
Fish and Game recommends keeping a wide berth and turning around if a moose is close, especially if it's showing signs of distress.
Their ears will go down, their hackles will come up, the hair on the back of their neck. They'll start licking their lips. Those are all signs that you are too close and you should stop and turn around and go back the way you came.
They say the situation is likely to persist until things green up and hungry moose find more food to eat. Lauren Maxwell, Alaska's news source.
Fish and Game reminds people that calving season is right around the corner, which is just another reason to avoid moose if you can.
Thanks for listening. Click subscribe so you can get the latest podcast from Alaska's news source automatically. And stay up to date with breaking news and in-depth reporting available for free 24/7 with the Alaska's News Source app.